It's Friday afternoon and it's been raining a little bit, but only a little bit, and it's been dull all day up until now, and consequently the genset has actually completed a run. It ran for quite a while because not only was the house down a fair bit, the shed was down a fair bit, so it was generating 12 kilowatts and exporting 5 kilowatts to the house and using the rest to charge the battery at the shed from 25% up to 55%. So I think it was at about 50% when the house said, right, I've had enough, thank you. Didn't take long to go from 50% to 55%, and it's just completed its 2-minute cool down run and stop. But given it was only a bit over half a tank, I figure I'd better go and check the fuel levels and perhaps top it up. Well, there's an issue. That can't possibly be right because it was only at less than 5/8 previously, and now it's only just a fraction over a half. So no, I'm going to top it up. Well, that gauge must have been right because as soon as I started adding fuel, it started coming up. So this must be a fairly frugal system. I wasn't able to add a full 30 litres to it, and it's a 70 litre tank, so yeah, okay. I'm happy with that, but now I know I can leave it alone for a month or more. I'm still waiting for the replacement UVC steriliser ballast. Something went wrong on my ordering process, so I don't know whether my stepdaughters ordered it or not, so I've asked for confirmation. We'll see what happens. This is our 304 stainless steel front fence. That gives you an idea what happens to stainless steel in Baku. It rusts. It's Saturday after lunch. We've just had about 6 millimetres of rain, so I'm going to try and avoid the green bits and walk over to the shed. The jambu is still falling down. That tree is just not going to recover and stand up until it's unloaded all that fruit, I think. Definitely not walking out on that bit when it's wet. That's very hazardous. We're talking green slime. I've just come over and inserted a spare SSD I had lying around and told this thing, okay, I want to boot from the DVD I brought over, but it's ignored that and not booted from the DVD. Try again, Bruce. So I'm told to restart because I think it may have came straight out into Windows because it had been shut down in hibernate mode. So rather than doing a proper boot, it says no, I'll just resume what I was doing before. So I've told it to do a restart now, which hopefully means eventually it will go and boot from the DVD. I burnt a DVD with Linux Mint 22 on it, so I want to boot from that and install it on the additional 128 gig SSD I just inserted in here. So I'll have the machine set up so I can boot from Windows or Linux, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, focus, here we go. 28.2, 99% humidity. It doesn't get much wetter than that. So I'm going to be uncomfortable even at that temperature. I just want to get this to reboot though, so I can see whether this thing's going to install. And this is one of the things I hate about Windows. It's taking several minutes to actually do this restarting thing, lots and lots of disk activity. Meanwhile, it gives you no clue as to actually what it's doing. And why would it take several minutes to shut down? It's just absurd. I remember trying to shut down a Windows Exchange server. Well, try to reboot it after an upgrade. And that sucker used to take about 20 minutes to shut down. And you'd be looking at the thing saying, well, why aren't you shutting down? And you're just reaching out to hit the power button when the damn thing says, okay, shut down complete. Used to drive me nuts. At least with OpenVMS you get some diagnostics saying what it's actually doing at the console. I did consider putting the community license version of OpenVMS for x86 on a machine, but applications would be few and far between, and I've deleted most of my old stuff I had. Well, I think I've deleted all of my old stuff I had for OpenVMS, so I don't even have the source code for the 3D noughts and crosses program I wrote years and years ago when I had my Western Digital Pascal micro engine. That was about 1981, 1982. Yeah, the 3D noughts and crosses was actually, you had a 4x4x4 grid, so there was 76 ways of getting 4 in a row, or 4 in a line. There we go, let's see what happens now. It's still lots and lots of disk activity, so it's not yet completed the shutdown. Now we'll see if we reboot from the DVD. Restarting. Why are you... No. Well, there you go. I got it under UEFI and then told it, okay, boot from the DVD. So here it is, starting Linux Mint. Oh, I'm not too impressed with this. It shows a few startup diagnostics, and after a while it just blanks the screen, and the screen, that amber, orange light down the bottom indicates that it's not getting a signal from the host. So I wouldn't swear that it's doing anything. It's had a couple of minutes now, and I'm left unimpressed. So I think I'll shut it down, pop out that DVD and start it up again and see if Windows actually starts. Hopefully it hasn't screwed up that disk. And of course it has. It's buggered up the Windows disk. So it won't boot from that now. Yeah, at this point I think you could say I'm pretty unimpressed. I guess that just shows I'm slipping in my retirement. If I'd remained appropriately paranoid, I would have actually disconnected that Windows disk before I tried to boot from the Linux DVD. Now I've got to dig out my recovery USB for that system. It's Tuesday, a bit before noon, so the rain started earlier than the usual afternoon thunderstorms today. So we've now passed 3.8 metres of rain for the year. I was thinking about this the other day in terms of my planned aquaponics system. I think I might have to build a roofed enclosure using the clear polycarbonate for the roof, so that the plants can get enough sunshine, but not end up with the water in the system from being overflowed and diluted by rainfall. Because the idea is the fish in the system, the fish waste in terms of ammonia is what powers the vegetable growth. You have bacteria, two types of bacteria. There's one type of bacteria converts the ammonia to nitrites, and then the second type of bacteria convert the nitrites to nitrates. And the nitrates are what provide food for the plants.
So what you've got is ammonia, nitrites and nitrates dissolved in the water. But if you add 3.8 litres of rain to your water, you're kind of diluting your nutrients a lot. So yeah, the aquaponics system might turn out to be more expensive than I was anticipating. It's Wednesday and it's been wet the last couple of days, and today. I think we had 83.9 millimetres, then 50 point something millimetres, and today we're already up past 12 I think. So looks like we're going to easily exceed 4 metres of rain for the year. Could do that today even. The jambu trees lost a lot of its fruit. They just tend to fall off, so they've been cleaned up a few times. We went out yesterday for the regular visit to the doctor to get my medications, and the road to Panambang was a bit flooded in places, so driving through water flowing over the road. Fortunately it's a concrete road, so it's not about to erode away. Where was I going with that? Oh, that's right, yes. There's a lot more jambu trees out there, and there was a carpet of fruit underneath them. But yeah, genset's running at the moment. I went over and did a manual start on it. I've been having trouble with it the last few days. It would start automatically requested, but when it shut down, it wasn't because the Selectronic had shut it down. It was because it decided I want to stop, and it would come up with a flashing red sign on the stop button, flashing red LED, and it would do that repeatedly. And I'd go over there and do a manual start after that, and it would run for about 10 minutes. Or sorry, it would run enough to put about 9% state of charge on the batteries in the shed, and then shut down with the red flashing LED again. And the last time I did it yesterday evening, I started it and ran for about 2 minutes and it shut down. I thought, well, that ain't good. But so far this morning it's been doing a lot better than that. I started it, hang on, I'll just pull my mobile phone out of the pocket and check. Show me the time. I started it 17 minutes ago and it's still running. So I'm going to sit over there and watch it and see what happens. You can see the rice at the back of the shed here is growing, and then plenty more over there. And I see I've got a low battery warning. This thing's really not as loud as it could be, thanks to this shelf top. I've opened the doors there in case it needs extra cooling. Don't know whether that's a problem or whether it was fuel starved or something else. But it's now been working for 22 minutes. So this is good. In theory this is a 20 kilowatt generator, but it's only putting out 12 kilowatts at the moment. And I think they've set it that way because the inverter, the Selectronic units it's feeding into are rated at 5 kilowatts each. So I figure what they're doing is running each of those at 80% capacity so as to extend their life. So okay, I can live with that. It's been running fine for more than half an hour now. So I'm just going to go back to the house and eat some fruit so I don't get in trouble with Jabida. And I might think about coming back again here. And hopefully it's still running when I come back. Well, it's still running after an hour, and at the shed here we're at 92.7% charge, and we're exporting 5 kilowatts to the house. So that's only around 27% charge, so that will keep importing from here until it's at 40%. And later in the day we'll want to go higher. I'm going to leave this run and see whether it'll just keep running. I did make a Windows 10 USB stick to bring over here for well, genset just shut down. Well, I restarted it and it started immediately, and it ran for 20 minutes. Well, I let it run for 20 minutes, during which time it fully charged the batteries at the shed here and did some export to the house. And after 20 minutes I went in and, I changed it from start to auto and went inside to see whether I needed to press the button for the generator there to shut it down, and the Selectronic actually decided, okay, I can shut that down now. So it actually did that. So after I changed to auto, it ran for about 2 minutes and then shut down, which is kind of expected. So it didn't go to flashing stop LED, so it's not an abnormal stop. So next time this thing needs to be started, it will start automatically, but it may stop spontaneously, in which case it won't restart again afterwards without coming in pressing the stop button and the auto button or start button. So don't know what the hell's going on, don't like it, but coping. When it's sunny, the only runs that genset gets are the maintenance runs it does 7 days after the last activity. Not currently, it's bloody cloudy, and it will continue to be according to the 10-day forecast. It's going to be wet and wetter, so I might be over here quite often starting up the genset. So long as we've got 100% charge on the batteries over here before nightfall, or at nightfall, I'm confident we can get through the night without me having to come over here and do a genset start. But it's when it's low at the house and here at the same time, then we're in trouble. So just gotta hope I can keep doing these manual runs to get that stack of LEDs green all the way to the top on that Selectronic. And the other day I had these two were in a fault mode where they were blinking red and shut down, and I got around that yesterday by going to this one and shutting it down, and gave it a little while and then started it back up again, and these all came up again. So whatever had upset those was cleared by a restart, thankfully. But I'm not fully across how to drive this entire system, or not confidently, because it's fairly complex. You'll sort of look at all those switches there, and what we've got the box pre-charger and the box AC breakers, individual switches for the different Selectronics, switches for the 2 strings feeding into the Fronius, and then God knows what's going on in there. Not touching that. This bit I understand, because I built that bit and installed this door lock here. So yeah, but up that end, yeah, need a call for help on that one. There are some measures I can take to reduce load in the off-grid system. What I've done is I've reset the clock on this automatic transfer switch. So at the moment it doesn't transfer the old switchboard across to the off-grid network at all. Normally it would transfer it to the off-grid network at 10 AM and back again to the PLN at 9 AM and turn it back again at 9 PM. But at the moment I've just reset that clock, and you can see there the top red light says yes, PLN is available. Bottom green light says the off-grid's available, and it uses the top one preferentially if it's available. So if we have a public network outlet outage, this will automatically switch to being off-grid, but until then, nah, stick with using PLN. costs a little bit more in terms of power bills, but electricity here is actually fairly cheap. I wanted to go over to the shed and on the genset, but I think I might wait for the rain to ease a little bit. I had to step back. I was getting rain on the lens, even from where I was. I don't know why this poor birdie has been locked up in darkness. It's still having a bit of a sing-song though. Yeah, I think we're going to break 4 metres of rain this year easily. And these cassava plants out the north side of Lizu's back patio are getting having them flat. Yeah, very rainy.
Jabota just told me not to go down and hunt for passion fruits on the passion fruit vine because she walked past that frame above those garden beds there and was afraid it was going to fall at her. As you can see there at the posts at the back sitting on top of that fence, they're supposed to be vertical. You can see they're leading in a long way. This whole thing's been pushed north by a strong southerly wind. So Dad will have to do a bit of work on that to straighten it back up again. Some of the wooden components from it have actually rotted away. That thing's been up less than 2 years, like about 15 months or thereabouts. So it was less than a year for some of that wood to rot away. And that's exactly why my specification for the construction of this house and for the shed and for the rice factory was no structural wood, because wood in this climate just doesn't last, and some wood is really bad. So I've got a steel frame roof on this house and the rice factory and the shed. Hopefully being galvanised, that won't rot too quickly. Some time ago we also replaced the roof of Santa's house and Titin's house with steel frame as well. 2 to 5 years apparently is the lifetime of wooden structures around here. But so that's the garden west of the shed. That frame is leaning way over. It's Friday. I didn't go over to the shed yesterday. I didn't set foot outside the house yesterday. Fortunately, it was enough sunshine yesterday that we got both the house and the shed charged up fully from the solar input. Didn't have to run the genset, so didn't have to go over. So that's all good. I did want to pan this camera at the west end of that shed around at one point to look at something, and that one's a bit problematic. Sometimes you pan and it keeps panning until you hit the button enough times again and eventually it stops. This time it just continued rotating, and eventually it stopped, and now it won't respond at all. So I really want to go across to the shed and do a couple of things. One, to check that the genset's still good and it's on auto start, and another was to swap out the SSD that's in the PC, because that turned out to be a dud. I can't even format that. So I didn't get Windows working again on it, and I didn't get I was going to install a minimal Windows on the SSD so that I could then install enough software that I could actually do a recovery with the other one for my backups. But no, the SSD's are done. So I've got to substitute a different disc for that. So that's one more woe. And I want to go and remove power from this camera and put power back on and see whether it restarts and it will respond to pan commands again. Because this is the one that normally looks sort of north from the west end of the shed at the front of Daddy's house. But currently all I can see is rice paddies and rain. And speaking of rain, yeah, oh boy, have we had rain. So this is my weather application showing yesterday we had 37.59 mils of rain, and the chart at the bottom shows like the blue line is the accumulated rain and the green line is the rain rate at any one time. So the rain rate there was 24.51 millimeters per hour at one point. Yeah, so that a respectable amount of rain, 37.59 millimeters. So I don't know if you noticed the time on the camera up here, but that was 8:34. So it's 8:34 in the morning on Friday morning. So let's step forward the date from this chart and say, okay, how much rain have we had today? So far today, we've had 89.25 millimeters of rain. So we are well past the 4 meters for the year, well past the 4.1 meters, and if we keep going at this rate, we might get to 5 meters for the year. It's wet, wet, wet. But anyway, I'm just not going to go out there to the shed unless I have to go and do a genset start. At the moment, the solar input is, let's see, we've got 500 watts at the house and 400 watts at the shed. So we've got 900 watts input and we've got 1.2 watts consumption. So yeah, might have to go across to the shed and run the genset later today. We'll see. But for now, I think I'll wrap up this video and do an upload.